Bram Stoker's Dracula is indisputably the most famous vampire story in popular culture. His novel has inspired countless adaptations and spin-offs, including stage works, films, and most recently, a television series.
My name is Andy, and welcome to The Horrible Truth.
The name Dracula has become synonymous with the undead blood drinkers. But where did the iconic name come from? During his research, Bram Stoker first encountered the name Dracula when he borrowed the book An Account of the Principalities of Wallachia and Moldavia by William Wilkinson. It was in this book that he came across the reference to a ruler named Dracula that fought the Ottomans. The book claimed that Dracula in the Wallachian language means devil. More accurately, Dracula means son of the dragon, but Stoker seemed drawn to the name based on this demonic undertone. Thus, his vampire count took on the infamous name, a decision that would connect him with a historical figure that was just as fearsome as the fictional fiend. As a member of the Order of the Dragon, Vlad's father was granted the title of Dracul, also known as the Dragon. Vlad, being the son of Dracul, was referred to as Vlad Dracula. The Order was tasked with defending Christendom from the invading Ottoman Empire, and both Vlads took this sacred duty very seriously. Aside from the name, the only other biographical details shared by Stoker's Count Dracula and the real-life Vlad Dracula were their battles with the Ottomans. It was this connection between fact and fiction that led some scholars to believe that the vampire character was based on Vlad Dracula. But that's where the similarities end, I'm afraid. Count Dracula lives in a castle in Transylvania. Vlad Dracula was born in Transylvania, but after that, he never really resided there, and most of the time he was at war with that region. It was the Transylvanian folklore about vampires that served as the bulk of Bram Stoker's source material, rather than Vlad's life. Vlad the Impaler may not be a true inspiration behind the vampire legend, but he still was a cruel and disturbing historical figure with a bloody reputation. You don't get a nickname like the Impaler for no reason. Here are the primary things you need to know about Vlad. 1. He hated the Ottomans. And 2. He loved impaling people, especially the Ottomans. Aside from religious differences, why did Vlad hate the Ottomans so much? As a child, Vlad and his brother were held captive at the Ottoman court as a ransom to keep his father in line. If Daddy Vlad didn't follow orders, his kids' lives were on the line. Not surprisingly, little Vlad resented this, and he held onto this grudge to the end of his days. When he was finally released after his father's death, Vlad pretended to play nice and then quickly switched sides once he became ruler of Wallachia. As a leader, he believed in his divine right to rule, and his strategic use of terror was the key to his success. Now, if you're not familiar with the term impaling, prepare to be scarred for life. A large stake would be inserted into the body vertically until it perforated the torso or the head. If the stake followed closely to the spine, avoiding internal organs, victims could survive for several days in agony before they died. This brutal form of torture became Vlad's signature move, and he employed it on numerous occasions. In 1457, Vlad was at war with the Saxons. He tried some diplomatic tactics first, but when those options failed, he resorted to his most reliable form of problem-solving: impaling. He burned villages to the ground, prisoners were mostly impaled, and one occasion people were hacked to pieces like cabbage. Saxon merchants that disobeyed trade restrictions were boiled in large cauldrons, and 41 Saxon students were impaled because he suspected they were spies. When a diplomat was sent to negotiate for the Saxons, Vlad invited him to dinner, surrounded by impaled victims. I can't imagine the backdrop of human shish kebabs was an appetizing atmosphere. When Vlad captured his enemy Dan III in 1460, he had a priest perform funeral rites as the defeated ruler dug his own grave before being beheaded. It's pretty twisted, but Dan was probably relieved that the sentence didn't involve impaling. In 1462, Vlad Dracula and the Ottomans resumed their military conflicts. When emissaries were sent from the Ottoman leader Mehmed, Vlad had their skull caps nailed to their heads. Mehmed retaliated by trying to ambush Vlad, who in return captured those involved in the conspiracy and, of course, had them impaled. Despite the fact that his forces were greatly outnumbered by the Ottoman army, Vlad used guerrilla warfare and unsavory methods to discourage his enemy. When the Ottoman soldiers tried to mount an attack on his main stronghold in Targovist, they discovered a forest of 20,000 impaled Ottoman prisoners rotting in the sun. Mehmed backed off real fast after that encounter. Vlad's tactics were insane, but they worked. Despite his hero status in Christian Europe, Vlad was betrayed and imprisoned by the Hungarian ruler Corvinus for 12 years. His captivity was used as a bargaining chip with the Ottomans. Play nice with us, or we'll release the Impaler King on your ass. In 1475, Vlad was needed to fight the Ottomans once again, and he was sent on a military campaign to Bosnia. His hatred of the Ottomans had not diminished even after many years in prison, and he used his usual nightmare-inducing brand of violence on this occasion as well. Limbs were torn off prisoners, and the appendages were put on stakes. Most disturbingly, he put the genitals of his victims on display to strike fear into the hearts of the Ottoman soldiers. Once again, Vlad's approach was horrific, but he got the job done. After this successful campaign, Vlad Dracula was finally able to regain control of Wallachia in 1476, but he was killed in battle just a few months later during the invasion. During his reign, Vlad the Impaler's brutality was well documented, but some of the more infamous claims are likely exaggerated propaganda from his enemies. There were rumors that Vlad would dip his bread in the blood of his victims to give him courage. Other stories involved cannibalism and murdering disabled peasants. There might be a small grain of truth to these legends, but they are extremely debatable. Vlad the Impaler committed many atrocities, but the horrible truth is that violence was considered normal for rulers at that time. During his lifetime, he was widely admired across Europe, and in the 19th century, he became a symbol of Romanian heroism. Vlad the Impaler was an effective leader in a brutal world, and while he might share a name with Bram Stoker's undead demon, the vampire can't even come close to the original Dracula's death count. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button so you can learn more horrible truths.